heard is that the only way to fix it, according to the Democrats, is the Democratic way. We heard that there was a little bit of sausage making along the way. Do you remember what that was like? That was the slimiest, nastiest piece of double dealing that I have witnessed in my lifetime, and I've been around for a while. You remember, we're going to give a special break to Nebraska. We're going to give a special break to Louisiana to get your votes. Screw the rest of the country. This is just sausage making, according to my worthy opponent. It strikes me that if it were such a good system, you could have gotten bipartisan support. They didn't, because but according to my opponent, this is going to be a private system. No, this is a public system in which the private insurance will gradually be driven out, and then we will indeed have a panel in Washington, D.C. saying what kind of medical treatment you can have, or more importantly, can't have. They deny it, but if you read their legislation, it's right there.
Thank you. Just to clarify, so each debater gets 2 minutes, right? And the other one remarks. Okay. So now we go on to the right. All right. So that right?
Okay. Again, where to begin? This is, on healthcare, what Obama has proposed is what the GOP proposed during the 90s. So this is not the Democratic plan. If it were, it would be single payer or at a minimum public option. And Obama, out of deference and bipartisanship, he took those out in an effort to work with the GOP. It's tough to work with a political party whose leader in the Senate has made it the #1 priority of the party to deny the President of the United States a second term. When McCain ran, he said, country first. And when Obama won election, the GOP said party first. Mitt Romney, 8 days after Barack Obama was elected, went on TV and said he hopes the president's policies fail. Imagine what would have happened if a Democrat had done that during the Bush years. How he would have been portrayed as someone who put party over country. So if it comes to bipartisanship, I don't think that's much of a contest. Obama has reached out. The Republicans have taken their hand away.
Thank you, Dr. White. I guess we're moving on now to the outside of the country. So how about a few thoughts on foreign policy? What is your candidate's position on foreign policy? Dr. White?
Okay. This is why one of the main things that I mentioned in the opening statement regarding symbolism, because I think when it comes to foreign policy, what Obama has done is miraculous if you remember what our standing was in the world in 2008. Where we were mud. And what Obama did is give people a sense that pragmatism was alive and that the American people were not interested in simply going around the world unilaterally and imposing our will, but working with partners. And you've seen that pay off in terms of how we are viewed abroad. In terms of some of Obama's accomplishments on foreign policy, he's kept his promise to stick to a timeline of combat withdrawal in Iraq. Romney criticized that timeline, said we were pulling out too quickly. Osama bin Laden is dead, and Obama asked for a second helicopter and even went against the advice of his own vice president, who has more expertise on foreign policy, arguably, to actually go for the raid. I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. On Afghanistan, he is sticking to a timeline of getting all the troops out in 2014. Romney and Ryan want to keep that open, maybe 2014. On Libya, Obama supported the Libyan rebels removing Gaddafi. Romney criticized that as mission creep. On Benghazi, when that attack happened, Obama's plan is to deliberately find out what happened and bring those people to justice. Romney, the day of, turned that into a politicized campaign event. On China, increased the number of trade cases against China, while simultaneously working diplomatically with them to address things like nuclear concerns in Iran, where we need China's cooperation. Romney's policy is to saber-rattle China on currency, not keeping in mind the unintended consequences of how that will impact what we need to do in Iran.
Thank
All
you.
right.
So that would be the rebuttal?
No,
Or
this
it's-
no, this
2
is
minutes.
Now, this is he had his opening, now I have my opening on foreign
Or
policy.
each one? Okay.
Okay,
It was
and
my
then he-
understanding that
and
would
then
be
he gets
the.
to rebut me, and I get to rebut him.
Okay, okay. We'll do that then.
Now. Oh, our prestige in the world has been growing all around the world. Wow, somebody must not have told all those folks in Cairo and Pakistan and Indonesia who burned our flag and chanted that they wanted our country to die. Wow. How about the Russians? They respect us so much more, they're pulling out of an agreement they made with us. This after we crassly capitulated and took missiles out of Poland and Czechoslovakia. No, under our symbolic president, we get to praise and suck up to our enemies and abandon and defame our friends, such as Israel. This man says that nobody's ever been closer to Israel. You better tell the Israelis. If you ever look at their press, you understand how they feel absolutely abandoned by this president. Now, as for Benghazi, the president says he's going to fix it. He's going to find these people and bring them to justice, as if this isn't war. Okay? He's going to, no doubt, read them their rights when he gets a hold of them. So where was he beforehand when they needed additional support to protect them from the violence that was surrounding them in Benghazi? And where was he when they were attacked and they were calling for aid to come to their rescue? Somebody, maybe not him, but somebody in his administration said, no, let's wait and see. Okay, and then the next day, he went to the Rose Garden and said, hey, it was a video. And then he took off and went out to Nevada in order to tell people, hey, we have a war right here in the United States. We are fighting for the presidency. This is not a significant and successful foreign policy president. He is a symbol, you betcha, of weakness. Weakness and more weakness.
Right now, we're having the rebuttal. 1 minute for that, for each debater. Thank you.
For such a weak president, it's striking that all of Romney's policies on foreign policy are Obama's policies. I don't understand why it's mutually exclusive. It has to be a video or an attack. Why can't it be an attack as well as a video? So that you had two factors that are at work there. I never said that Obama created a world at peace and eliminated all enemies. What I said is that regarding our allies abroad, he has improved our standing and their willingness to work with us, and we need them. After the lesson in Iraq, we cannot go it alone. We need other people to work with us, and Obama presents a diplomatic a presidency face forward, and Romney presents saber-rattling rhetoric, but in essence the same policies, and it's a disconnect between the two, and our friends abroad see that and wonder why that would be.
Okay, I see that many of you were pleased by this notion that Romney is automatically following in the footsteps of Obama with foreign policy. Wrong. Romney is a realist. And Romney knows that when you take over the presidency, you inherit policies. You don't stop on a dime and change direction. You have to work with what you are given and build on it. If you are already withdrawing troops, you don't turn around and say, okay, now let's pour in lots and lots of troops. You have to adjust the policy as you go along. This is one of the things that a good president knows. In addition to being someone who can work with different people, as Romney has proven he can do, is somebody who can make adjustments and make changes when the circumstances dictate that they should. This is Obama's weak suit. This is one of the most obstinate presidents we have ever had in the United States. He tells you he's going to do something, and by golly, it's true, he's going to do it, irrespective of what's happening. I don't think I want that sort of president.
Thank you, Dr. Fein and Dr. White. The next question is about women's rights. So, just as simple again, what is your candidate's position on women's rights? So this time, Dr. Fein.
He hates women. Well, that's the way they would put it. You know, he's not buying them birth control for $7 a month, so obviously he's against birth control and against women. Well, it's utterly ridiculous. Certainly, his record in Massachusetts argues otherwise. He selected his running mate in Massachusetts, a woman. He selected his chief of staff in Massachusetts, a woman. He had half and half in terms of what amounted to his cabinet in Massachusetts. This is a man who is a decent human being. A decent human being treats other human beings as humans, whether they are male or female. This has been Romney's history, and we've got somebody waving up there, okay? This has been Romney's history, okay? When he has been a manager, we have a question being handed down. Forgive me for being distracted by this. In terms of human decency, you know, part of the problem that Romney has is he's essentially a Boy Scout. They keep on looking for ways to slam him and to defame him and all of the terrible things that he's done that he hasn't done. Among his strongest supporters are the women that he had in office with him in Massachusetts. And oh, by the way, the women in Obama's White House have complained that it's a boys' club and that they're shut out and that they get paid less. You know, Obama's always talking about we got to get women equal pay with the men, only not in his own White House. As in almost everything, Obama is rhetoric, words, empty promises, whereas Romney is action, deeds. The man is modest about what he's achieved, but he has achieved these things. I go with character, and the one who has character and who will treat everyone, irrespective of gender, with respect, is Romney. Obama says it, he doesn't do it.
Thank you. So now Dr. White on women's rights. 2 minutes.
Obama supports employee insurance policies paying for contraceptives for women, the same way those same policies cover Viagra for men. Obama is not interested in forcing a religious institution to pay for contraceptives, just the insurance company. And Obama does not believe that running an insurance company is a religious affair. That's a central doctrine to being a church. Obama's first act that he signed into law was the Ledbetter Act, which Romney opposed, which allows a woman to sue on the basis of gender discrimination so she can get her day in court. As governor, Romney had to be approached by women. If you recall the binders and women comment, he did not seek more women for his cabinet. The women's group went to him and said, your cabinet is not sufficiently diverse. Here's a binder of resumes of qualified women. So he did not go out and seek that. And I have no doubt that if he worked for Romney or go to his church, you will see how compassionate he is. But my question is, well, what about those folks that don't have a personal connection? Where are the examples of Romney doing things for strangers? Romney picked a vice presidential candidate who co-sponsored personhood bills with the guy from Missouri, Aiken, who suggested that there's a difference between rape and legitimate rape. Romney. Sorry. Romney backs Murdoch, the candidate who just suggested that a child born from rape is a gift from God. When asked about discriminatory pay for women in the workplace at the second debate, Romney's response was, "I support women in the workforce." That's not the issue. That was the issue a long time ago. We are past that. It's time to move on. It's time to vote for Barack Obama when it comes to women's issues.